is going. Let's see. This won't be as much of a shit show as it was yesterday. I think I have a better grasp on things. All right, yeah, we're ready to go. All right, welcome to the second live episode of the FD Guru show, DFS show. And we have just a small little 7-game slate tonight. It's going to be easy to rip right through it. There's only a couple of games worthy of looking into for bats, and the pitching's a little sketchy out there tonight. I hope you guys listened in on my Marco Gonzalez GVP pick last night, because he went complete game. Ended up giving up a run, but he pitched an awesome game, and I had him on the GPP lineup, which was free yesterday, and that cashed in. So hopefully I can mention another couple good GPP pitchers tonight. There's only a couple to really look into. And the cash pitchers, it's really sketchy tonight, because obviously Chris Sale's the best play, but he is in New York, and he's 12K. He's a stud, so I'm probably going to pick him, to be honest, just because he's going to mow them down, and I can find some value in the bats where you can spend the 12K on your pitcher and, still go throughout your lineup picking some cheap offensive guys. But Kenta Maeda isn't a bad play at 8,900, honestly, for cash. Colorado's been pretty bad when they're away from their home Coors Field. I think Vegas has Maeda at a pretty big favorite tonight. Let me just pop in real quick here and take a look. Yeah, minus 177. He's got a low total of 7.5. So Maeda's definitely in a good spot tonight. I certainly don't mind him in cash games. 8,900's pretty good, but again, if you look at his game log, he's a little sketchy. He's not consistent enough, and the whole idea of cash games meaning 50-50 double ups for a DFS contest. You want guys who are going to be consistent, because all you got to do is place in that top half of the entries, and you double your money. Maeda, he had a good game last game against the Cubs, but if you do look at his game log, even the 3 games before that, he was pretty shitty. He went 1 2/3, 5, and then 3 2/3. Wasn't going deep into games. I know last start he went 7 innings, which is pretty encouraging. But the Rockies still have some good bats. Even though they haven't been hitting the ball well as of late, they can always leave the ballpark. So Maeda's a little sketchy. He is 3K cheaper than Sale, so that's a huge kicker there. I'm probably going to end up still spending up on Sale. As far as GPP pitching goes, Felix Hernandez is in a great spot tonight. He's basically for the same reasoning as Marco Gonzalez last night. They're playing the Royals. They aren't a good team. He's at home, and Felix has been pitching pretty well as of late, believe it or not. Other than that one poor start at Tampa a couple weeks ago, he's been pretty good. 6, 5, 7, 8 innings if you avoid that Tampa game. He's been, his strikeout numbers are there, right around 5 to 7 strikeouts a game. You can't ask for much more from a guy like him at 7,800. We all know he's going, down on the downslope in his career, but he's still a pretty solid pitcher. I mean, we got to ignore that 5 ERA right now, because he started the year off pretty. I would suggest just spending up on Sale and cash. But either way, one way or another, the cash or the pitching tonight is pretty shitty. I'm a Sox fan, and obviously I'm not biased when picking my team, because you can't be. But Sale's still in an iffy spot tonight. I do expect him to pitch well, but he is 12,000. He needs to be outstanding if I'm spending 12,000 salary on him. So Chris Sale's probably my cash game play of the night tonight. Also, just a quick shout out here, a quick announcement. This is my site. Just go over to it if you want to get some DFS content, some lineups. I post videos on here. It's pretty updated in general as a whole, this site. So just head on over here. You'll get all of what you need. My FIFA won today for the World Cup, the main slate. So just message me if you're looking to get in on some of that FIFA action. Jumping into this slate, like I said, Maeda, pretty decent spot tonight. I'm not going to be targeting Rockies bats for that reason. On the other side of things, the Dodgers bats, a pretty good spot against Herman Marquez or Marquez or however the hell you spell his name or say his name. I don't even know. But he's not that great of a pitcher. You could target some Dodgers bats in this game. Let me take a quick look at their lineup tonight. I had a feeling Jock Peterson leading off. He's been pretty cheap as of late. We'll see if FanDuel bumped his price up. They didn't really. $2,700. That makes him a pretty good play. Probably the best value play in this game tonight. Can certainly plug him in cash games. He can go deep at any moment. He's got some good upside. Also look towards Matt Kemp. I was pretty high on the Dodgers last night if you were watching my stream yesterday, and they kind of disappointed, to be honest. But I expect different things tonight. Matt Kemp's too cheap at $3,000. He's too good of a hitter. I like Kemp and Jock in this Dodgers lineup. Some good matchups here. Max Muncy's 4,200. I mean, holy shit, who would have ever guessed that? Dude was an absolute no-name at the beginning of the year, and he's just tearing the cover off the ball. 17 homers, 35 RBIs. I mean, that's just nuts. Obviously, we won't expect that to continue on. 4,200, too much, though, for him. There's really no one else catching my eye. Bellinger's a little too much. You can look towards Grandel. Pretty good price at $2,700, but that's going to do it for that game. For the Sox, you obviously don't want to look at any Yankees hitters. I mean, I know Stanton and Judge have that lefty-righty matchup, and Sanchez have that lefty-righty matchup against Chris Sale, but it's Chris Sale. No need to spend up on those Yankees hitters, especially if you're picking Sale on your lineup. This is a tip, but it's a tip for dummies, honestly. You don't want to pick a pitcher if he's pitching against, or you don't want to pick batters if they're facing your pitcher. That just makes no sense. You should never do that in any scenario. So definitely don't do that. But on the Red Sox side of things, you could look towards a couple guys here. Sonny Gray has had a couple games where he's blown up, and if the Red Sox get hot, they can really light up the scoreboard. Mitch Moreland's a little expensive for me at as low as we've seen him all year. So that's a pretty good play for him. That's really going to do it, though. JD and Mookie, I mean, they could always homer, but they got that high price towards $5,000. Not really worth it. There's better plays tonight. And if you pick Chris Sale, you're not going to have the money to spend up for them. So this is a low-key one of my favorite games tonight. Atlanta at St. Louis. The St. Louis side of things are really, really enticing for me. You got the lefty on the Brewers, on the Braves, Max Fried, and he's not a great pitcher. We got some great lefty-righty matchups for the Cardinals here. Ozuna's in an awesome spot batting cleanup, only 3,200. Definitely look towards his way, along with Tommy Pham. Pham's a guy that can creep up towards 4,000 when he's going right, so him batting second tonight with that lefty-righty matchup makes Tommy Pham almost a must-play in all formats. I mean, if you're a guy who likes to pick guys when they're hot and don't pick them when they're cold, definitely go off of Pham tonight because he's 0 for his last 38,000 at-bats. So, I mean, let's see, 9, 10, 14, 19, 23, 25. He's 0 for his last 25. But on paper, he has a good matchup tonight. But he is in an 0 for 25 skid, so you can't really shy away from that. That's gonna make me hesitant on picking him, but he's still in a good spot tonight. He's a good player, good hitter. Everyone else, though, maybe you could look towards Jed Jericho just because he can go deep, too. He's got some good power, some good upside. Definitely a GPP play, not a cash game play to any stretch. Not a fan of the Brave side of things in this game. Luke Weaver hasn't been great, but any Brave worth picking in this game is just too expensive. You can maybe look at Kurt Suzuki, 2,700, not a bad play. Freeman's too much. Ozzy is too much, 4,600. There's just better plays on the slate that we'll get into than those guys. Even Inciarte, we haven't seen him up at 3,700 all year. He's normally a guy you can get pretty dirt cheap at $3K, and he's a great guy who can steal bases and hit homers. So 3,700 though, too much for me. I'll be off of him. That leads us into the best offensive game of the night here. I think Vegas has this total at 10. Yes, they do. That trumps any other game on the slate by over a whole run. So this White Sox Rangers game makes for an awesome stack. You got Carlos Rodon against Bartolo Colon. That rhymed. That was kind of cool. And you gotta just pick your poison in this game. You could really go with anyone. You gotta find your cheap, good value plays here. I don't think either lineup is. Oh, the lineup is out. FanDuel hasn't updated yet. So you got DeShields leading off tonight, 2,800. He's a cash game play on all fronts here. Righty-lefty matchup. He's a guy who can steal bases. If the Rangers start scoring some runs, he'll be on base scoring them. So DeShields an awesome cash game play here. Who else we got? Andrus and Beltre. I'm not going to go any... I hate going lefty-lefty. It's just... I can deal with righty-righty pitcher and batter, but lefty-lefty, it's just so much harder for a left-handed batter to see a lefty pitcher. There's just no need to put yourself at that disadvantage. So any lefty Ranger tonight against Rodon, I'm not going to be looking at, such as Mazzara and Chu or Gallo. But you can look towards Andrus. He's 3,500, kind of a lot, but he is batting second, so he's in a good spot tonight. Definitely a pairing of DeShields and Andrus could be a really good play here. Even Beltre could be a good stack here. 3,500 though, just like Andrus, a little expensive. That could keep their ownership down, and this game has a fine play against Cologne. You got Moncada. I've been picking him lately, and he's been kind of boning me as of late, but 3,400 is too cheap. He can always have a big game. He can steal. He can hit for power. I also like Yelmer Sanchez a lot at 3K, and Advisil Garcia. He had a pretty good game last night, and I mentioned him in yesterday's stream. Only 2,500. I think he actually hit a triple, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got some good upside, some good power. If you look at that game log, he's in a bit of a groove. So. Definitely a good guy to pick tonight at 2,500. He could hit Cologne pretty well. That's a fact. That's for sure. This Pittsburgh-San Diego game, not a huge fan of it, pitching or hitting. Just like yesterday, wasn't a big fan of it. Let's see. We got Joey Lucchesi against Trevor Williams. It's at a 7.5 total, so it's a low total. And these pitchers are a little sketchy, so... There's really no one I'm really looking at in this game. Nothing is really catching my eye. Let's see. Are the lineups out for this game? I think it's at 10 o'clock. Yeah. You got the lefty-righty matchup for Starling Marte, and he's only 3,300. You could maybe look at him. But that's really it. I don't know. I don't really know where else you would go here. Maybe if Jordy Mercer has a weird leadoff night tonight, because he sometimes gets put in the leadoff spot against a lefty. He's 2,200, and I was watching MLB Network. Yeah, he did homer. I did see that highlight. So decent play, but it's hard to suggest him when I don't know where he's batting, because he could easily be batting 7th or 8th. But with that lefty-righty matchup, there's a good chance he's batting leadoff tonight. If you want to do a mini stack with the Pirates here with Mercer and Marte, not a terrible idea. That's definitely a GPP tip right there. Definitely don't throw these guys in cash games at all. I wouldn't suggest it at all. San Francisco at Arizona. You got Derek. I mean, why does he spell his name like that? That just pisses me off. Like, what? Why do you need to spell your name like that? You got Derek Rodriguez and you got Shelby Miller. Shelby Miller is he's just coming back from his injury. I think he's only had 1, maybe 2 starts. And if I'm not mistaken, they haven't been good. Yeah, he had 1 start, 5 earned runs in 3 innings against the Miami Marlins, who aren't even a good team. So you could maybe look towards the Giants' bats in this game. I'm not sure. I'll try refreshing this. I don't think the Giants' lineup has come out yet. We'll take a quick look. But I still don't even... No, it hasn't come out. I still don't like many guys in this game. McCutcheon's got an elevated price. If Gorkys Hernandez is leading off at 2,800, you can maybe look at him. I think he's a switch hitter, so he'll have that lefty... Oh, no, he's a right-handed hitter. But if he's hitting up in the order, sometimes he does. Not a bad play. I don't mind John Jay on the Arizona side of things in this game. Only 2,900. Lefty-righty matchup. He's been a good hitter all year. He's batting 291. Can't go wrong with that. But this game is also pretty much a wash for me as well. These late games aren't doing it for me, just like last night. There's just not much going on. There's not much to even suggest towards you guys. This Kansas City Seattle game, our last game here, we're just buzzing right through this. It's a small slate. Like I said, Felix Hernandez is a pretty good GPP pitcher in this game. For the same reasons as why I mentioned Marco Gonzalez last night. I don't expect him to do the same thing, but I do expect him to go 5 or 6 innings, maybe get that quality start and grab the win. Vegas likes the Mariners a lot tonight. Hernandez is a minus 210 favorite. It's a pretty heavy favorite, and the total is only 8. So Vegas thinks that the Mariners are going to win this game pretty easily, and they think that the Mariners are going to score a few runs as well. Jason Hamill's not a good pitcher at all. I really like Kyle Seager in this game, 3,300. He's got that lefty-righty matchup. I think he's homered. He homered 3 games ago. Okay, but he's doing pretty well. He's 6 for his last 13, so he's in a pretty good groove right now. He's got a great matchup tonight against Hamill. I don't mind Kyle Seager at all. If you want to spend up on D. Gordon, I don't hate it. 3,600 isn't bad, but I don't love that position. I think Kyle Seager's really the only good play in this game. Everyone else is pretty. GBP, you could look at Denard Span and Ben Gamble. They got lefty-righty matchups, and they're pretty cheap. I expect these guys, if they're hitting, to be hitting 5-6 or 6-7 in the lineup. So, not the best spots, but they are cheap, and they will probably have low ownership in GPPs. A little stack there with them two and Kyle Seager definitely doesn't hurt. You could even make Felix Hernandez your 4th Seattle Mariner on your team. Wilder's looking for DK prices for cheap pitching. I don't know. I don't look at DK really. FanDuel and DK normally do a pretty good job keeping the prices pretty similar. I would assume Felix Hernandez is pretty cheap over on DK tonight, so he's not a bad GPP pitcher at all. I don't mind him at all. I don't know how much Kenta Maeda is, but he could be a little pairing, because I know DK you have to pick 2 pitchers. Maeda and Hernandez could be a nice little pairing to shy away from Chris Sale. Cash games, I would go Chris Sale and probably Hernandez to save a couple bucks on your salary. But yeah, that's basically all I would suggest for that. But yeah, that's gonna sum it up on this stream, guys. It's been, doesn't mean you can't go back and look at what I've said. So hopefully these picks, guys, stack the White Sox, stack the Rangers, pretty good game there, and stack the Cardinals as well. I like Pham, even though he's cold, and I do like Marcell Ozuna. But until next time, I'm the FD Guru, and I'm signing off.